Well, I suppose some of you know what geocoding is. It's finding locations, and reverse geocoding is getting latitude and longitude and finding a textual description of the location. So basically, let's start with the motivation. Why do I want to have accurate reverse geocoding? It was me waiting at the airport for my wife to come pick me up. And I was wanting to see where she was, and it was saying Bunchbury. And Bunchbury is one of the side roads over here. So a little bit later, she was on Manorwood, which is another side road, not main road. That's Albion Street, by the way. It's close to where I live in Canada, Ottawa. So third time's the charm. Still not good. Now it's in Hazelman. Instead of on the south. So somebody who doesn't know the area well, like me, because I live there, would be confused. Where is the car? Where is the bike? So that's why reverse geocoding is important. Well, now it's saying, for example, there's a dead zone here in Albion Road, there was still wrong. So 4 out of 4 wrong. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. I should probably include this in my presentation to show people that this is actually a problem that is still not solved, even by big companies like Tesla, I suppose. And this is on the plane, actually. And do you see anything wrong with this one? This is also a reverse geocoder behind this one. And it says Bucharest is somewhere in Iceland. And so this is another reverse geocoding fail. I can give you lots of examples of reverse geocoding fails. People don't really notice them until you actually end up in the wrong location or with the wrong information. So, where are we? Right now we're here. This is the building. It's cool, but it's kind of broke off there. The second floor and 1 or 2. And so on and so forth. So the idea about geocoding is to give you information where you are in 3 dimensions, because now I'm on the second floor of a building in this location in this street. So if you want a complete reverse geocoding solution, you need to take into account 3 dimensions instead of 2 as well. And this is also an open problem. At least I don't know anyone else who has a reverse geocoding. So, let's talk a bit about what the problem space is. So we have the globe. Obviously, the globe is not perfect sphere, but we will have to do some approximation at some point. It's not flat like this. And like I mentioned before, we have to figure out some 3D solution to the problem, but we don't really have to go that far, maybe to 17,000 meters. At least this is what I have built in my algorithm. I made the assumption that no building can go above 17,000 meters. Would be wrong down the road, but for now it's good. So, by the way, I came here half an hour earlier and I changed everything to H1 font because I thought you wouldn't be able to read from there. Now it's all over the place, but bear with me. So, there's lots of reverse geocoders. Google Maps, the most famous one, as we all know. This is what my Tesla uses. And it was wrong 4 out of 4 times. There's nominating, and what I've seen is more accurate than Google sometimes. They do an intersection of objects, like intersections of lines and polygons, and it's pretty great. However, it's a bit slow if you do intersections of geometric objects, and you need a lot of memory. There's Apple too. Apple Server API, similar to Google, slower than Google, and even more inaccurate than Google. And this is 2 applications that I've built myself, geocoding.xyz and API.3geocoding.org. And this is what the topic of this talk is, to present to you 3geocoding.org, which is a free API, no API key needed, you just go there. And it only reverse geocodes to the neighborhood level. Because I wanted to squeeze 3geocoding.org into a server with only 1 gigabyte of RAM and only 1 CPU. This is where it runs. So it runs with minimal resources. But I mean, if you're generous with hardware, it's a lot faster. But with 1 gigabyte of RAM, you can do 100 geocodes per second. So this is a problem. We have X, Y, and Z. It goes to a geocode and the other way around. We have about 658,000 trillion 1 by 1 meter squares in the Earth, up to 70,000 meters, which is my assumption, as I said earlier. So, however, in OSM we only have 1 billion waves and 1 billion nodes, so we don't need all of that. So, if I can somehow squeeze all of OSM into memory, that is going to make for a very fast reverse geocoder in constant time. And for that, we need, I need to refresh this, the Hilbert curve. How many of you are familiar with the Hilbert curve? Yeah? So Hilbert curve is awesome because as far as I know, from space filling curves, oops, oh there you go. As far as I know, this is the best curve suited for location proximity. So to map latitude and longitude to a single integer and vice versa. And it also works in 3D. As for my application, go back to the previous slide, we only need the 38th generation of the Hilbert curve to represent all of the points in Earth with 1 by 1 meter. In reality, I did a little bit of a hack because I didn't go for 1 meter. It didn't make sense. I mostly reverse geocode buildings and roads, so I assumed that 5 meters is fine. So I went a little bit less than that, just to make it cheaper hardware. So there is a link there on the HTML page that you can go and learn more about Hilbert curve and various other applications. It's an awesome kind of technology. So here we are. Unfortunately, the H1 font was a bad idea. So anyways, we index latitude and longitude values with integers, and it enables for fast calculation of distances, neighbors, and so on and so forth. In the links in the presentation, there's also a link to a GitHub page where you can download this and run in your own machine to actually verify that what I'm saying is true. So there is a grid, obviously, using the Hilbert curve, and I forgot to mention, I combined the Hilbert curve with the z-order curve because sometimes the Hilbert curve has jumps. It's very interesting. I've worked a lot on this, and I don't know why it happened. Maybe a better mathematician than me will be able to figure it out. However, if you choose the z-order curve on top of the Hilbert curve, basically combine the two curves, you are able to figure out where the jumps are and to handle those specific cases individually. This way you don't have any mistakes. So there's also the Google S2 lib. How many of you are familiar with the S2 lib? Yeah? And that is one also based on the Hilbert curve. However, they go up to a square centimeter and they use 64-bit integers, whereas my solution only uses 43-bit integers. I think it's not okay to get to the centimeter level of units. And there is a lot of others like hierarchical triangle mesh. Sorry, my accent. So it is not a bad solution, but it's very slow. 100 times slower than S2, for example. And HealPix is from NASA. I'm sorry, but I still haven't figured out how it works. It's very complicated to implement. Maybe when I have time, I'll delve into it. And there's a couple of others, just for comparison. So this is what my grid looks like. So from that number, 10 numbers away from it, you get these grid sizes. It's about 5 meters by 5 meters, but not exactly that. It varies from location to location. That's the nature of the beast. And here's another one. I think even this slow. This is 100 grid points in this box where we are here right now, but unfortunately, maybe I need to refresh it. Okay, there you go. So you can see they move around the place. You would expect in an ideal situation they will all be close together, but it doesn't exactly work that way. But this is still good enough because the area we're looking at is just the campus here. And we can go even to 1,000 grid squares, and that should be good enough. So Basically, I was going to do, if I have enough time to do a demo. Is that how much time?
Yeah, you have 5 minutes or 10 more minutes.
Oh, 10 more minutes is plenty. So, I don't know why I inserted them here, but let's open a new tab. So, I don't know why it's going there, but usually should geolocate the location here. Anyways. So this is some location in Kosovo, I think, but I wanted to find something in Prizren. Oh, it's going to TR. Alright. So Prizren is somewhere up here. So basically, this is also, I can also use words, like why 3 words or what 3 words for the application. There is a free open source version of that I have developed myself, but differently from that, I use the name of the equation locality as the first word, and then 2 random words after that. And that corresponds to the geo number that I showed you earlier. And if you want to find more information about it, you click on the API. So basically, this is a couple of examples. You just go to the latitude and longitude after the URL, and you just put JSON or something else. It will give you either JSON or XML. XML is the default. I'm old-fashioned. I started with XML. I stay with XML. And you can also pick random location, like if this random location is anywhere in the world, most will be in the oceans. But if you pick random location that is in land, you can do that. If you pick a random location, let's say in a certain country, you go like Kosovo. Did I do a slash? No. I'm going to put a dot. Sorry about that. Where's the dot here? Where is it? So, there you go, random location also, and you refresh it, it's another location there, location there. And then you can pretty much get all this in JSON. So if you write, instead of region.org, you write the word API in front of that. And you get it in XML or JSON if you type JSON after Kosovo. So basically, this is the free reverse geocoding I was talking to you about. You can download it and you can install it in your own machine. You can use mine. However, you might occasionally get a error message saying that the server is overloaded because some people use it too much. And the message basically saying that you're on the server. So what's next? What I'm working on right now is reverse indoor geocoding. So basically, taking into account the altitude as well as longitude. And you can also do 3D geocoding on here. For example, I will use Prizren. So if you write a comma and 420 meters, I think is the elevation here. So basically, it changes that code a little bit because it takes into account the 3D dimension. So this is the version of the 3D Hilbert Curve. So basically, that's my presentation, and I'll come to questions.
Great, thank you.